notice it if I do a neti pot, man, then I definitely am like, I'm less puffy.
Flushes out all the badness.
Yeah.
I can't do those because I sort of panic at the last second and feel like I'm drowning. Yeah.
You have to kind of teach yourself how to do it.
Uh-huh.
It takes a lot of trial and error and like scaring yourself and basically, it's intense.
Yeah, it's like whatever the nasal version of a gag reflex is, it like feels like it just kicks in and I'm like,
yeah. You're not supposed to pour water up your nose.
Yeah. But do you just relax? Because my sister dated this guy who was like he went to like a Navy school.
Annapolis?
Maybe like the Navy. He went to the Navy school. But anyway, they had to do all these sorts of like diving and sort of like underwater training things. Uh-huh. And he would describe how you had to kind of like get equilibrium in your ears. Like when you dive down, kind of blow it out.
Yeah. Yeah,
and just the thought of that makes me squidge a little bit. And the neti pot feels the same way. It's just like these things that are not supposed to happen.
Yeah. Well, I have to plug my nose when I go underwater.
It'll shoot right up.
I can't do you know how some people can just not do that?
Yeah. You can just blow your nose. You don't just like hold your
exhale. I don't know how to do that. I actually do this thing that I've only met one other person. Hi, Steve Moore, who also does this. I use my upper lip to plug it.
Okay. Yes. I do. I've done this.
I
don't currently do this, but this is how I handled it as a kid.
I didn't know that was a weird thing until my sister finally noticed it and let me know.
Oh my God.
So kindly that it was a freak thing to do.
That's sufficient to keep the water from just rushing.
You have to have enough skin there.
You look like we're
all trying it right now.
Yeah.
You just look like you're making a kiss face.
Yeah. Well.
But I would like puff my cheeks out and like that, because the reason I started doing it is I would hold my nose to jump in, and then people would make fun of me like, "Oh, you fucking coward! You got to hold your nose when you jump in the pool." And so I was like, "No, I don't."
Yeah,
just made like stupid.
Both of you have like really cute, delicate button noses.
Oh, thank you.
Because I'm trying to do it, and my like crazy hook nose like hangs over my top lip with plenty of nostril to spare.
Well, yeah, I don't think it works for everyone, but I definitely have always done that. Still do it as an adult. I can't not plug my nose, and I don't want to waste a hand. You got to swim with that hand.
Yeah. Wait, do you do it when you're just in the water, underwater, or just when you jump in?
No, always.
Fascinating. I thought we were just talking about jumping in.
Yeah.
No.
Wait, are you a good swimmer?
No.
That's weird, though, right? Because you're like
from Maine. Grew
close
up on
to water.
The beach.
Yeah.
I guess it's a little weird that I'm not. I mean, I'm not like a terrible swimmer, but like I'm not a strong swimmer.
Yeah.
Like one time, my sister and I swam across a lake, and I did think I might drown. I made it, but it was like a lot.
Kyle, you're a coastal elite too. You grew up on a coast.
Yeah.
The third coast.
Yeah, the third coast. Going down to Crystal Beach.
Are you a good swimmer?
No, I'm not a super like strong swimmer either. But I mean, I float like a motherfucker though, so I'm never really worried about drowning so much. Yeah, I never really learned super well how to like properly swim. I took like one swim class when I was a kid, and I was just like, this sucks. I just kind of want to play around in the pool.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Games and diving.
I never took swimming lessons because our parents didn't make us.
Right, fair enough.
And it didn't seem...
Yeah, I was just like, I just want to go to the pool and just do a bunch of cannonballs.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about all this bullshit.
Mariah and I had a pool game that we would play way past the age where it was like socially appropriate. Yeah. We would be all the Disney princesses, but as mermaids. But there are only two of us, so we would each have like 5 parts. And then I also made up this character named Alana Beautiful. And she was a really vain mermaid, and that was my favorite one to play.
Well, that sounds like a name of a character from this fucking movie that we watched.
I know.
Yeah, everybody, let's go ahead and get it started. Welcome back to We Are Definitely Afraid of the Dark. It is the Scary Movie Podcast for people who are scared of everything. My name is Stephen Smith. I'm scared of everything.
I'm Emma Holder, and I'm more scared of more things.
And I'm Kyle Romero, and I'm a big, brave boy.
And we have watched our second installment in the reductive title is Creepy Kids Month or
Baby New Year.
Baby New Year. Yeah. Baby New Fear.
Ooh.
Much better than Spooky Baby New Year, which is what I was going to go with. Last time we watched The Omen. This time around, it's Emma's turn. And we watched a truly
wild
But
film.
I think, here, can I just, before we get into it. So, like, normally when we do this, the energy is always weird because you watch what are taxing movies, even if you're like Kyle or other people who we've had on the podcast in the past who are not as kind of viscerally affected by this. We're always like a little depleted afterwards because you watch a whole movie, you're kind of, you go through the ringer.
It's stressful.
This one was not as visceral, but I'm like worn out from it because it is like, because it's like going to the theater.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. It feels like you're just watching people monologue.
Yeah.
Like, again, I don't mean going to the theater in the way that, like, that's not a fun thing to do, but it's like watching people work so hard is also makes me tired.
Mm-hmm.
No?
I can see that.
I hear you. You can see the
eyebrows.
sweat on their forehead.
Yeah. It seems like, so this film is based on a play.
Yeah.
We should say the title of the movie.
It is called The Bad Seed.
The Bad Seed.
Emma, tell us why you picked it.
So I picked this movie because I had seen it, but I didn't remember very much from it. I watched it when I was probably around like 8, 9, 10.
Uh-huh.
It was just on TV, and my mom was watching it and kind of laughing at it.
Okay.
Because it was like so wild.
Uh-huh.
And so I watched it, and I remember just being blown away that they had a little girl being the murderer.
Yeah.
So, which they told us not to spoil it. At the end of the movie, they actually say, "Don't spoil this movie."
There's like a title card that spells it out.
It says, "Don't divulge the secret."
Full paragraph.
Well, the people who made the movie were also uncomfortable with the little girl killing people, which is why they chose to end the movie the way they did.
Yeah. But
wow.
So, I chose this movie because I remember like thinking it was weird.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
Yeah.
But like didn't really remember much about it except the little blonde girl is the murderer.
Yeah.
Which is
weird.
Wild.
Yeah.
We're not expecting that. So should I just do my 2 minute?
Do your What we discussed before we got on there, we're going to give you 2 minutes this time because nothing, but at the same time, a lot happens.
Yes.
Some great character work. So to jump in.
So, upper middle class family. Christine and her husband, the like colonel, have a daughter named Rhoda. And Rhoda is an adorable little blonde girl with pigtails and wearing like pinafore dresses. Yeah. And they have a fun landlady who just comes in and monologues a lot.
An old woman named Monica.
Monica, the old lady, comes in and talks a lot and gives Rhoda presents. And then Rhoda goes to fancy private school, and there is a picnic at her private school. And she's mad because this dumb shit named Claude won the spelling medal instead of her. And later, we hear on the radio that there's a drowning at the school picnic. And so we find out that Claude is the boy who is drowned. And Rhoda comes home and is happy as a clam and tap dancing.
1 minute.
And so we discover that Rhoda may have had something to do with Claude's death. She was seen near him. We later discover that she actually did kill him with her tap shoes because she wanted the medal. She deserved the spelling medal, not him. So the movie is really about her mother learning that she's a cold-blooded killer. She also killed an old lady in their old apartment complex. And then there's a creepy handyman named Leroy or Leroy, depending on who you are.
If you're of good breeding.
And he figures it out. So then Rhoda burns him alive. And then the mom in the anguish of not knowing what to do about her bad seed daughter. Oh, the mom discovers that she was adopted and her mother was a criminal.
Was a notorious serial murderer.
A notorious serial killer. So it is her fault that Rhoda is this way. Upbringing didn't matter. She's just a bad seed. So
That's
mom gives the daughter Rhoda a lethal dose of sleeping pills, which is so wild, and then shoots herself. But the gunshot goes off, and the neighbors are able to save Rhoda, and so she's fine. Mom actually survives the gunshot too, and then Rhoda goes back to the pond to find the medal that her mom threw back in the lake and gets electrocuted by a lightning strike. And that's just the end.
And it literally just goes like smash cut to, it says the end. And
a voice comes on that says, wait, hold on a minute. Literally says don't go just yet. Here's our wonderful cast. And they have a fucking curtain call.
And they all walk into the hallway and smile awkwardly and don't know where to look.
Amidst the screaming laughter from the three of us, because it was a truly surreal ending, because it felt like it ended sort of three times. There's a version of it where it's like gunshot, go to black, whoa, super hardcore ending.
I think I would have liked that better.
I think you make that movie today, that's how it ends.
I think what I would have liked is the mom, they're like, sorry, there's nothing that we can do about it. They're in the hospital. The colonel's inconsolable. And then we get tap dancing. Rhoda comes back. I want her to go on and live, and I want the mom to die.
So that's another option that I like.
The true kind of Twilight Zone, bleak, scary ending. Mm-hmm. And then they really undo the work of both of those endings by the mom miraculously coming around from the head trauma. Self-inflicted gunshot wound. And then we get to see this cherubic but really evil girl get fully struck by lightning. The pier explode around her. Yeah. And then she falls presumably into the bay. It's fucking nuts.
I have done no research. I would bet that ending is the studio. I bet the original play ended with the gunshot or something like it, or maybe the hospital scene. I bet the studio.
I'm
because
curious.
The lightning strike is so visual. How would you do it on stage?
Have been in a play,
you could do it on stage, but of that time, it didn't feel right.
Right.
And it just didn't feel like the right ending to the play.
Well, they're pulling it back from the brink too, because it's like, well, no, we actually want a happy ending, because this poor woman has been through so much, and obviously I guess none of us have any remorse.
Well, not only is it like
the
evil child gets what's coming to her, but also the mother survives, and the husband is just like, I forgive you.
And her beautiful, pretty face is unmarred.
From the gunshot wound.
She just has to wear a bandage around her
That looks like
head.
she has an old-timey toothache or something. That just goes under her chin and over her head.
Fucking alfalfa.
Okay, so that was a spectacular, by the way, recap. You you really fucking nailed.
I focused.
Yeah.
And I didn't even take my ADHD med.
You did have 3 minutes, and you.
Okay. Sure.
But it was great. I think. So let's go way back to the first kind of record scratch that we had when we first started watching this, which is I didn't think much of it at the time, and Kyle called it out, but boy was it apparent once we got into it. This is adapted from a stage play, and boy the fuck was it.
All the movie takes place in the living room.
A single room, and it's all people kind of exiting left and right.
Yeah.
All people coming on as some sort of they're just entering the room. Nobody comes in announced, and then big character, insane monologue, and then dip out.
The straight up monologues are pretty wild too. Just let me tell you my story.
Yeah. It's oh, I'm glad you're all here. So we get, who are our monologists? We get the drunk mother of the dead boy.
Claude's mother, Hortense.
Multiple.
Hortense
Daigle.
Hortense Daigle might be my favorite character in this play.
No, I like Christine's weird German birth name, which is Ingold Denter?
Ingor
Banker?
Ingor
Dinker? Deagle? No,
what was the criminal's name? It was something great.
Something Western European.
No, but I thought Hortense was a really fun character.
So fun to play.
Yeah, so fun to play.
Not so fun to watch.
No.
Because, they are true monologues in the sense that, when people come in and they're doing their monologue, for the most part, people they're by themselves, like Leroy when he does his, he's just talking to a bush, like he's crouched in a bush,
fully villain monologue,
like talking about like what he's gonna do. And then when Hortense comes in and does it, she's the grieving mother,
right?
And so everybody's made really uncomfortable, and she's drunk like a skunk,
yeah.
And so she just monologues, guys, for 10 minutes. For a long time.
And then also, that classic...
They could have broken it up a little with some dialogue, I guess.
Bit. You know that classic note about if you're trying to play drunk, the trick is that drunks never act drunk. They're always acting like, I'm drunk, but I'm trying to not be drunk.
They're trying to overcorrect.
She did not follow that particular rule at all. She leaned right into the I'm drunk.
But I still found it kind of... I was willing to buy it.
Me too.
I was willing to buy her drunkenness.
Y'all, what?
It is
crazy. I don't know how people are when they're drunk. Like, even though
I've
get
seen
drunk
people
very
that drunk
easily.
before.
Yeah, sure, but y'all have to acknowledge that this performance is fucking wild.
But what do we mean by wild?
Is it
great?
Bad? It's so big. No, I'm not saying
it's bad.
Great.
Because I
think it's great. I love it.
It's very theatrical.
Okay.
Oh, this happens all the time where people think that I'm saying like,
okay,
y'all,
clarify,
this is crazy.
Yeah.
When I say something's crazy, everybody assumes that means that I think it's bad. It's not bad. It's just, you have to admit.
Yes.
It's playing in the back fucking row.
Yeah.
Yes. It's very theatrical.
Yeah.
This whole film was not in any way played as a film.
Yeah, it's not a subtle era. And then I think that you're probably right, where it's like, this is just fucking one for one. They just took the woman who had the role in the play.
I think
when
so.
It did
That's what it felt like.
Acclaimed run, and they just plugged her into it, and she's doing stage acting, like on a soundstage.
Yeah. Well,
so it's real broad.
And I think that is an important point about the era, too. It's 1956.
Yeah.
Most actors are doing theater first anyway.
Yes,
And subtlety isn't really there in film yet.
As evidenced by how we talked about how they used to kiss in this era.
Yeah.
It's all like aggressive mouths smashed together, and then everyone's like clinging and wrenching at each other for dear life. It's just, there's no
actual
grace to it.
Yeah.
If somebody kissed you, what would you do? If somebody kissed you like you that?
If somebody in 1950s movie kissed you and
grabs you by the lapels first and kind of gives you an urgent shake, and then
just smashes their face and
fully
keeps
smashes.
it still.
Yeah, but there's a mutual attraction. Like, you also, like, you want to be kissed by them, you want to be embraced by this person, but they do it in that fashion. Are you like, second date?
Yeah, that's a weird kiss. I'll
allow it. Well, if it's first date, that's iffy. But if it's because you don't know if it's like this is a thing that is happening one time, or if this is how this person kisses.
Yeah. Spoiler alert: Claire and I have play acted this before, and it feels weird. You're just like,
yeah, I'm sure it does. That's super. Yeah. Yeah, it's the whole movie is very much a play.
Yeah,
as we've said. I just love it because when you think about that, this was made in 1956. There's some dark ass shit they're exploring.
Oh yeah,
and some of the stuff is wild, like the idea, just like the classism and probably racism that underlies the idea of like nature versus nurture.
Right, totally.
But pointing out that, I mean, it's still problematic, but that like shit can happen to anyone.
Right.
I think is kind of cool. Even though I do think like maybe they should have just taken her to a mental health facility.
Right. Yeah, it's not the most progressive
killed her.
Mental health wise. But
well, it does feel like though it is kind of like a product of those ideas. Like it's created in parallel with the kind of like emergent, mid 20th century vanguard of like mental health ideas, because there's a whole protracted scene, again, very like a play scene where the mother is upstairs with the landlord, and then just two random men,
crime writers,
a crime writer and then her brother, I think,
yeah.
and everybody's just talking about psychopaths or like remorseless killing, and she's kind of analyzing.
Is into analysis and met Freud,
right? She knew Freud, and then so she's doing sort of like these like associative exercises. So like to me, that probably felt quite contemporary and kind of like really interesting and maybe even a little shocking. And then we either have characters who are like really into this idea of psychoanalysis, and then medical professionals are just old men who are like, it's a bunch of hogwash. You can't believe any of it. It's all nurture. It's all environment.
You're a nice, rich family? Yeah. It can't happen. I do think, and I know this is just my interpretation and not really there, but Rhoda's obsession with, like, objects and, like, treasure is very fun and, like, anti-capitalist. Again, this is absolutely not really there.
Right.
But
I think fun reading.
The fact that she is like such a greedy little capitalist monster, like, you know, at the end she's also going to kill the landlady because the landlady said she could have her bird.
It's an interesting thing too, because, like, I guess serial killers keep trophies.
Sure.
But she, like, does it for the trophy.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. So, like, also maybe just as a kind of pattern. Like, your girl isn't even in middle school yet, and her room is filled with things that she was given by people who died in suspect circumstances or mysteriously. Like, maybe don't promise her anything.
Yeah.
Even a fucking popsicle. Mm-hmm. What is, what is the current thinking and sort of, like, progressive, like, medical science for psychopaths? Like, they're incapable of empathy.
Don't know. Yeah.
They don't feel remorse. Is it lock them up and throw away the key kind of situation because if the circumstances are right, they'll kill and kill again.
That doesn't sound progressive to me. But I don't know enough about it.
Shock therapy.
I would say, there's probably still some hope that there's, like, a way to help them learn empathy.
Oh man.
But I don't know. I'll know more next semester when I take my class on diagnosis.
I'm looking forward to
that. We got to do a two-parter, man. We got to revisit this.
But here's the thing that I do know. At age 8, most kids haven't really developed that much empathy.
Right.
So, like, some of the shit she's doing, not the murder part, but the, like, being furious about an object is absolutely normal kid shit.
Yeah.
That, like, obviously she takes to an extreme level that I don't think most kids would.
You mean the murder? You're talking about the murder?
But it's interesting because, like, many kids don't understand, like, well, and also they don't understand death. Mm-hmm. So, like, I almost, like, feel like she could be... I don't know. Obviously, it's a very silly character, and it's not nuanced, but I just feel like there might be hope for her to become an empathetic person.
Okay.
So we're dancing around something here.
But she's killed 3 people, ostensibly, if we round up and include Monica.
I mean, I think she should be in a mental health facility. No,
forever? Or
I mean, I don't know.
Are we America in this regard, or are we in Sweden where it's like, listen, 12 years, and then we got to scuttle you. You got to get out here to make way for. Are we a humane criminal justice system? What's going on?
Well, so here's the thing. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you decide if someone's okay to re-enter society because we don't have any system for that.
Fair enough.
But I would like to believe people can change when they're that intensely disturbed. I don't know.
Well, there's also something that's problematic here, which is like I'll speak for myself, and basing it entirely on sort of fictitious representations of the psychopath, which is only as the like inscrutable, calculating like person with a total bloodlust, or not even like a bloodlust, but just like you're so out of sync with the way that sort of like society works that you see no consequence or no reason not to just be absolutely horrible. But is there any psychopath who's like using their powers for good?
I don't know. Maybe Dexter. I mean, if we're living in the world of fiction, which obviously the three of us are not qualified to talk about the real world here.
Well, it sort of depends on your definition of good. Like,
that's true.
Because there's like psychopath. Psychopath doesn't mean like killer. You know, like CEOs are psychopaths. The
song's called Psycho Killer, Kyle. Beg to differ.
But like Jeff Bezos is a psychopath, and he's not doing good, certainly.
Right.
But you know,
by sort of like
should he be locked
late
up?
capitalist standard, he is though.
Yeah,
he's like a job creator.
Exactly. Like I would not consider that good, but other people from a different perspective would consider that very good.
And I don't know enough about like, are all serial killers psychopaths? Like, what's the statistics there? We have a lot of research to do. We're just asking questions.
They're probably not all psychopaths. I mean, there's like the psychopath. There's like the killer who kills because like they want something and they don't see any problem with like getting rid of somebody so that they can have the thing that they want.
Yeah.
And then there's also like, people that have like a weird sexual gratification, and then there's people that have like just like crimes of passion, and they're just like, but it happens.
But they're not serial.
Yeah, they're not serial killers.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's this weird thing though that we're like, because if you're autistic, theoretically, you cannot read social cues. You can't read sort of like what
depending on where you are on the spectrum.
Like that's just sort of like
harder
obfuscator. It's like extra data that you kind of like can't parse. And then the way that psychopaths are represented in fiction and film is that they're like the flip side of that, like hyper analytical, and they can like read all this data in real time, and then also kind of like manipulate people. And so that's played.
So I thought that was sociopaths.
Oh, well, is sociopathy part of? Is it like
a
catch-all?
I don't know.
Let's keep talking about it until we're blue in the face.
We are definitely getting in trouble. That's all I know.
Listen, if you're a psychopath and you have all of the answers, please send the correct information to Kyle's address where we record 1432 Primrose Lane. That's not the address.
Somebody who lives at that's a real address for someone, and you just sent a killer. They're showing up with piles of books.
Can you imagine what that would do for our ratings, though?
Oh, hell
yeah.
He's holding one of our stickers.
If you've killed once and can't stop yourself and must kill again, please like and subscribe and leave a comment on iTunes so we can get into that 2019 year in review.
That should be our Patreon.
Yeah.
Just
psychos. Is psycho derogatory? We're not allowed to do that.
Absolutely, 100%.
But also, like, come on, it's kind of fun. Listen, you can't say anything these days.
All right, Louis C.K.
I like to wag my dick and denigrate people with mental health problems.
My two favorite.
So I have a game for us.
Oh, yes. Good.
If you could bad seed anyone.
Oh, kill them, you mean, without getting caught? Okay.
Without any, like, moral...
Yeah.
Like, basically, if you could just not worry about that part of it.
Get away with murder.
From your childhood.
Okay, both of you guys plug your ears. I want to talk to the fans right now. It's Colin. Oh, from childhood?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Who would you have bad seeded? Who made you so mad as a kid that you would have bad seeded them? I'm still thinking. I don't know the answer yet.
Mine are adults, though, I think, for the most part.
It could be an adult. She killed adults.
Yeah, she killed. Yeah.
How far back are we going?
Go back.
Because the first person that popped in my head was from high school.
That's fine.
That's fine.
I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before, but I wrote a note to a girl and had it in my backpack. And it was like early high school. I was like a freshman. And was in a class. And this was health, and it wasn't like my normal like honors classes. I was in there with a real riffraff, and got up and went to the bathroom. And when I came back, this guy, his name was Tommy. I don't remember his last name. He had opened up.
Let's just call him Tommy Bahama.
His name was Tommy Bahama. He had opened up my backpack and taken the note out and was reading it out loud to the whole class. And that was maybe the most mortified I'd ever been in my life. I would bad seed that guy for sure. Not a good answer? What's the silence
that's a
here?
good one. I'm just trying to think of
I mean, that's like classic bully shit. That's a perfect.
Yeah. That's perfect.
But it's also now that I'm thinking about it, it's like a little off the question because I feel like it should be like you coveted
they
something.
Got something you need, you want.
So I have one.
Yeah.
That's That's like, it would not have been okay for me to kill this person. Because it would have been okay for you to kill that person. So I was always the like teacher's pet in my ballet class. Because I was little and adorable.
Unlike all those other huge...
Well, I was the littlest girl in my class.
Okay.
So, like, even the other kids would try to make me their pet, which I did find very annoying.
Yeah.
Like, when you grow up little and all the other kids your age tell you how cute you are, it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, that seems like it.
Guys, it was so hard to be so cute. So... Anyway.
You're just walking around sticking your lip up against your nose trying to take it back.
So I was in the same ballet class. I started when I was like 2 or 3, like really young, because my sister was in class and Barbara, the teacher, let me just kind of go early. And it was just running around in tutus at that point. But anyway, I took ballet from her for like 7 years, and I had always been her little favorite.
Yeah.
But then this new girl came in named Ashley when I was like 7 or 8. And she was really good. And she like started getting all of Barbara's attention. And we all hated her. Well, me and my friends, and it was mostly me. I just like could not stand that she became Barbara's favorite. So I would like call her a suck up and stuff behind her back in my car on the way to and from ballet. And I'm sure she's a lovely person, but
yeah,
I would have bad seated her.
Yeah.
Broke her ankle.
Yeah. Yeah, how would you? Well, yeah.
I would have Tanya Hardinged her.
Is that what you do? But
or
like
Nancy
somehow
Kerrigan
do it
her.
to death.
Just
keep hitting
yeah,
her.
I mean,
hitting that knee until
honestly, I don't think I could follow through on that. But I would just like
Emma, come along and live in this rich fantasy world with us.
Yeah.
Kyle, how are you killing the guy who digs in your? How you bad seating? Right, we don't want this to be used in some sort of criminal trial. How are you bad seating the note taker?
Oh man, that's a great question. I don't know.
You could write a fake note.
Oh,
to trick him into going somewhere.
Yeah,
and then blow it up.
Yeah, some sort of bomb. Yeah, that's what I would do. Or I would write a whole bunch of notes, and I would shove him in his mouth, and I'd dunk his head in the toilet and drown him. I don't know. Is that track?
Yeah, I love it. I love it because then like the criminologist would like use like really long tweezers to like
pull out all these
scrap of
a ton of pieces of notebook paper.
Yeah. I think for me, like I just like so I was also very small and very cute.
We were adorable babies.
Not me, guys. I was fucking huge and ugly.
You were the what was that like alliterative thing that the guy when somebody straight up uses the word mongoloid in this movie?
Oh yeah,
there were so many moments where we were like, "Whoa!" Like
when they spanked her at the end too.
Oh my god!
As a funny bit,
we're gonna post a GIF. We've got to do something on the fucking Facebook page, just that sequence because there's like a full curtain call, like Kyle mentioned, and then the actress who plays the mother, Christine, does her sort of like graceful like take to the camera, and then kind of breaks the fourth wall a little bit. Or like kind of gestures into the room and wags her finger at the actress that plays Rhoda and then pulls her over her knee and spanks her while it sort of dissolves
they all laugh.
the black.
Yeah.
And it's the wildest fucking thing that you've ever
it's
seen.
Fucking crazy.
And I was like fully at that point in time, I kind of blacked out. I couldn't even believe
Well, it's such
happening.
a huge, like, it's so much to take in. The lightning strike happens, and you're like, what? And then the end, and you're like, what? And then the announcer, like, here's the curtain call, what?
And then they here's a fun spanking.
Spanking after, and everybody's like, this is a fun time at the movies. Let's go home and have sex and make a child. I would bad seed. So I was little and tiny, and so when you're little, anybody who kind of like exercises sort of like physical, is like imposing in any way, is like suspect or subject to bad seating. So that means basically anyone. But I think of like, I was never like aggressively physically bullied. And in retrospect, I guess you're supposed to think that like when people are like physically rough with you when you're in elementary school, that like that's because people don't know how to like parse their feelings, and that's like supposed to be affection. So definitely one girl who pulled, who like I went up to, she needed scissors. We were like sitting in like 4 desk clusters, and I went up to go. We were doing a craft exercise. She needed scissors. I went up to get them, and when I gave her the scissors and came back, she pulled her seat out from under me, and I just sat hard on the ground, and everyone laughed. So she obviously must die.
Yeah.
And then essentially all of the fathers that were in charge of my Boy Scout troop were all like, they would use, like, we'd go camping all the time, and that was like, we're away from the wives and the balls and chains, and so they would just get blackout drunk the entire time. It's a very bad scene. But I distinctly remember being in this gymnasium at this Methodist church where we would have these meetings every week, and then me and my like little nerdy like pudgy friend Jason were like just good students. we weren't like rough and tumble woodsy boys, but I think I liked scouting. Anyway, I just remember like us walking by them at this meeting, and like I'm like holding my little like scout book manual or whatever, and then Jason
short pants,
and we're like in our little short pants, and we're like our costumes or our uniforms are immaculate, and then Jason and I took backpacks everywhere because we just like had to have like. We like to have supplies, like, at the ready. Always be prepared.
Yeah.
And then these adult men fucking making fun of us. And just being like knowing in my soul that I'm like, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
I'm smarter than you. Like, I'm gonna, well, maybe they're not depressive, but I'm gonna have a better life than you. Just being like, fuck you. And so like that would be the moment where I would like rig some elaborate Boy Scout trap to kill them all in one go, potentially. And then they would find me in my tent whittling, and I'd be like, I don't know what happened at all. Like that. I just hated like other people's dads.
They stepped on a big net covered by a pile of leaves and all got impaled on these spikes. Steven, what happened?
Yeah, who knows? They were drunk. Here's the evidence. All these like beer cans. When I was home at Christmas, for some reason, Boy Scouts came up, and my mom was like, my mom will never let my dad live this down. She's like, you should have said something. It was wildly inappropriate for them to be drinking. And my dad's like, what are you going to do? You know, like literally, what are you going to do? I'm going to have to fight all of these men?
Yeah.
Like, so whatever. Childhood's a nightmare.
Yeah. Now, what would you do if you had a bad seed?
I drowned in the tub.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't want to have children anyway, so I'm not. Guys, am I a bad seed? You guys looked like you literally like have whiplash because of how quickly and efficiently I answered that question. You can't let it live.
Well,
you got to drop it off the cliff.
I think I would Rosemary Kennedy. No, not lobotomize it.
Oh, okay.
But send it to an institution.
Right, like a hospital.
Yeah.
And then just forever.
Oh, yeah. I'd go visit.
Yeah. So the real answer is yes. Get them the proper care that they needed.
Get it.
The fun answer is I would become a criminal father, and we would be a father-daughter.
It's a real Moriarty and Sherlock kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're like. Oh no!
No, I mean,
you'd help them get away with the crimes.
Help them get away with the crimes.
Kyle, what?
That's the fun answer for the fun.
I think the fun answer is like you're pitted against each other.
Oh no!
A battle of the wills.
I imagine it because they sort of kind of hint at that a little bit in this movie that's the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
Where the mother daughter's confessed to the mother, and she's like, "Okay, go burn those shoes or whatever." And I was like, "Oh yeah, here we go. This is great." Like. The mother's not like she doesn't love it, right?
But she's gonna do it because she's
got to do it. She loves her daughter. Can't let anything happen to her.
That reminds me of when the Unabomber got caught. It was because his sister or sister-in-law turned him in.
Yeah,
and my sister was bullshit when I told her that I would have turned her in if she was the Unabomber. Just like hypothetically, she was like, I cannot believe you would do that. Like, you would turn, we are sisters. Like, acted like that was an insane thing to turn a mass murderer in just because you're related to them.
Well, I mean, that is the thing, though. So
I would be conflicted about it, but I would.
But you gotta do it.
You gotta
like
do it.
if your kid is the affluenza teen, you gotta just cut your losses, right?
Yeah.
Like you just have to sort of let fate run its course.
Because if you let them continue to kill, you're not helping them either.
Yeah. But there is this like weird social pressure, which there's like a little bit of it in this, where it's like, well, what will people say?
Exactly.
Like I can't that's why everyone's so obsessed. Not just because of their own culpability and like raising a monster, but like with this sort of like nurture idea. Like they'll like not only will they like they'll blame you, send her to prison, but they'll like think I'm a bad mother.
Yeah.
In this era, maybe that's largely all that she has to sort of like cling on to. So
certainly.
that's
well, and I think that's
prison.
still I'm sure it's still really hard. Like, I haven't read any of these articles, but sometimes like the moms of like a mass shooter will like post something and be like, blah, 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 whatever. I don't know. I should read them, but they depress me,
They're
the
so
idea
sad.
of them.
Yeah.
But like that must be such a fucking insane hard life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To be a parent of someone who.
What do? You move. You pick up sticks and definitely
pack
move.
your bags and move away.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think you could, like, take up some social justice causes to try to, like, counteract some of it.
Kind of balance your scorecard
in an emotional way.
Yeah.
But also,
lots of therapy.
But also, you don't owe that to anybody.
You don't owe that, but I think it would help me.
Just have to.
For yourself.
Have to do it to get past.
Just
not
to make that
you
clear.
owe that.
Yeah.
But like, I think that would help me feel better in that situation, and just like hours and hours of therapy every day.
And your therapist is like, have you seen The Bad Seed? Like, for the first assignment is that you got to go home and watch The Bad Seed.
All that kid needs is a good patting on the butt.
Yeah. Did you let your kid hang out too much with the obvious pedophile groundskeeper? Can we, guys? We need to talk about Leroy.
Yeah, we have
not talked about Leroy yet.
Well, so then this is a weird misdirect for me, at least, because I was like, because again, I'm like maybe trying to put too much onto this movie because I want Christine to be like working against the sort of like heavyweight brain power of her own daughter, or I thought it was like, oh, peas in a pod.
Yeah,
Leroy is. He's cast by Monica, the upstairs landlord, as being like a simpleton. They're like, he's got the brain of an 8-year-old boy,
but he can have kids.
But he's got a family.
Yeah, he has had kids. Yeah.
Okay,
which I don't get why that makes him a better person. But
well, I mean, it's the prime directive. We got to propagate the species. Even if you sleep on Excelsior bed in the basement, you still got to get out there and fuck and keep it all going. But he's not though. He's all bluster. He's all bluff.
He's faking being an idiot for...
Is he, though?
Vague, nefarious reasons.
I don't think so.
I don't think he is. I thought so, too. But I'm like, oh, no. He just doesn't like the little girl. There's, like, a class component.
I don't think he's as dumb as...
It's an 8-year-old.
As they portray him to be initially.
Right. Fair enough.
I don't think he's, like, some intellectual giant, but, like, he does see through her when no one else does.
So why is that? Is that just because, like... because she doesn't, is that like a class thing too, where she's like she's only putting on appearances, so to speak, with like her social equals, and that he's like inferior to her, so she doesn't try as hard around him?
I think that's part of it. I don't know. If I had to guess at the like intention of the like writer,
the playwright,
it might be like maybe it's a thing where like he's also a creep, and so creep recognizes creep.
Yeah,
you know.
Okay. I think that might be part of it too, for sure. And he's just always suspicious because he knows, he has ulterior motives, so everyone must.
Yeah. So Leroy is the groundskeeper. He just storms into apartments without knocking and says his name out loud. Again.
Leroy.
Just goes, Leroy's coming in, and he's like a bit of a hayseed. Like he's got this sort of like bumpkin accent.
He's extremely wet all the time.
He's stooped a little bit. He's got kind of like a hunched posture.
I mean, he literally sleeps in the basement and is covered in soot, basically.
On a bed of straw.
Yeah.
That is like cast off by the rich murder child.
He also gives wild monologues in bushes and like to the camera.
Yeah. And to me, I'm really like, these are like two titans of acting. When he has a scene with the little ass girl, it is the craziest thing I've ever seen on
They
screen.
are doing the wildest, like, mid-Atlantic kind of like, but low class.
Yeah.
I can't even describe it.
And she's all piss and vinegar when she talks to him because he's stupid and he's just making up lies. And he's like, just really, I mean, to me, the drunken performance by your sort of classification, Leroy's wilder than the Mrs.
Totally
Dangle.
Totally, yeah.
I just love that fucking character.
Yeah.
At one point in time, I had to get up to pee, and I fully came back into the room like after going to the bathroom because it turns out it was the ice cream man. But I thought Leroy was coming back on screen. I didn't want to miss a minute, man.
Yeah,
can't get enough of that Leroy.
I mean, the performances in this, while super insane, were very interesting to watch.
You have to be talented to do what these people are doing.
To be compelling on screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
To deliver all those lines. And then, like, for people not to get bored, I would argue it's a little overwritten. And 2 hours and change, it could have been an hour and a half and still been as compelling.
Just by cutting some of the words.
Based on a sort of like contemporary lens, I was waiting for more escalation sooner.
Yeah.
And I actually think that it was good that wasn't the case. Because like when she finally, like you said, when she kills Leroy. So Rhoda, these names. When she locks Leroy in the basement, she essentially starts a fire in his little straw bed, and he burns up. And then I think somewhat effectively, we just see the mother and the landlady like watching it happen, and sort of like while he sort of screams and then eventually expires. But that came really late in the sort of like third act of this movie, and effectively done. Because if she's just out there like stacking up bodies left and right, it maybe loses some of its credibility.
Yeah, definitely.
But in a contemporary movie, if you have like an evil kid, they gotta kill a lot.
One with it as I think probably at the time. Now we know about this movie, so we know that it's like she is a killer kid. But also like we're so trained to like look for the craziest plot thing. But I think that at the time, like maybe if I had seen the play, like not knowing anything about it going into it, you could be like, oh, it's gonna be sort of this like character study of like this mother who's you could easily see a more highbrow version where it's all just like
in her head.
Yeah, in her head, or it's sort of left like, is she the killer or not?
Yeah.
But then they definitely lean away from that in a big way.
And I mean, if our theme is creepy kids, man, this actress fucking sells the creep because she does those like big 180 switches between like drippy, like all this daddy talk when her dad's there, and then like really like inappropriate dynamics between every relationship in this movie. Like that girl strokes her mother's face in a way that is like really unsettling, not reassuring. The woman has a weird relationship with her father, who's like the crime reporter. Everybody's touching each other and saying like inappropriate things to each other on the regular, but that little ass girl switches from like pure evil to like pure syrupy sweetness.
Yeah,
it is very
very quickly. And also, you mentioned like her caressing her face. She does it in the same shape and style as the bandage on her face at the end of the movie. I thought that was interesting.
Also, this is one of the only movies that we've ever actually had a bona fide Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, literally a Chekhov's gun.
Well, do you got any more games?
You don't see that. You don't see the gun, but they do talk about it.
I mean, we were all like. We were gagged whenever the gunshot went off because you thought for sure I thought she was just going to poison herself the same way.
They sort of because she says I'm going to take some too.
Yeah.
Like she literally said she's going to do that.
I do like that she calls the pills the vitamins.
Yeah, take your vitamins.
You got any more games?
That scene was great. No, I think that was it. I do think that like there's a bit of a feminist component to this film, even though it's like got some problematic shit too. I just
unintentionally probably.
The fact that it was made in 1956 and the two main characters are women and one of them is a tiny girl that murders people. I don't know. Let's just get into it. I love it. I love this movie. It's insane.
Yeah.
But I like very flawed. But I
Here's the
really
thing.
like it.
Is it though? I would go so far as to say that this is pretty close to a perfect movie because I'm saying it sheepishly and like not making eye contact because
I really like
it. It's overwrought and way too long. But I like fucking loved it. I'm going. It probably isn't a hidden gem. Like people probably know about
it's pretty
this.
well known,
it's pretty
I think.
well regarded.
But I think these days it's less known. I think it's one of those things where like if you ask our parents, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, fuck bad seed.
We saw that. We saw that."
Yeah.
Let's do proper ratings.
Okay.
Emma, you go
Thumbs
first.
up.
You've already
I liked it.
teased it.
I liked it a lot. I really just find it enjoyable. I think it's scary, but also very funny.
Yeah.
Maybe not intentionally funny, but I really think the acting is incredible, even though it's so over the top.
Right.
And I do think it manages to be scary just because you're like, just from the mom's perspective of what the fuck would you do if this were your child? Right. So I'm going to give it 3 looks at your treasure in the box. Because that's what calms you down.
I'll go. I'm giving it like an enthusiastic thumbs up. This is a time when I wish we had a scale for more nuance for our thumbs up, thumbs down, where I could be like, no, this is like a big thumbs up, because I'm starting to feel like sometimes the scary rating is a qualitative rating, and it's not. So for me, it's a 0. It is absolutely not scary. I am on the record of saying like I don't want to never have, never will plan to have children. So like a lot of the existential sort of crisis is lost on me. I'm like, it's interesting, and I could get how it would be sort of like a compelling thought exercise for somebody who has kids or plans to have kids, but it's ultimately like, that ain't me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a 0. I'm gonna give it a 0 naps on an Excelsior bed in the basement. But like, enthusiastic, go see this movie. It's truly fucking weird. There's so many moments that are like really interesting because they're just so bygone and strange.
Yeah.
Like, I just wish we had like a list of all the moments when we went like, what? Out loud, or we like literally burst into some of the loudest laughter we've ever shared as a unit.
Yeah.
You gotta see it. It's fucking nuts. Thumbs up.
Yeah, thumbs up for me too. It is totally fucking wild. And in a way it's just like, it's kind of like not the movie anyone making it probably thought that they were making, but it's now like a masterpiece of camp, and like I love the theatricality of it. I love that it's like a play. Like, I really am into all that shit. The doors opening in and out. The huge performances, like y'all said, are so fun. Like, the weird character names are all incredible. Breedlove, Penmark, Hortense, Rhoda, Richard Bravo.
Dick Bravo.
You didn't talk about the fact that her fucking dad's name is Dick Bravo. Oh, it's fucking crazy.
This feels like a movie that somebody has got to remake, like, and not like The Good Son, where it's like thematically similar, but it's like, no, we are remaking.
No, we need like John Waters to make it.
It's like either go full camp, or do the Jordan Peele social thriller thing, where it's like, ooh, it's really all about class,
right?
Yeah.
We find the angle on it.
Yeah. I mean, this is a white ass movie, but like, if there was any person of color in it, like, we would have gotten that additional element of sort of like the times and the era in which it was made. But like, somebody remake The Bad Seed,
or both. Let's get both.
Yeah,
I want the John Waters and the Jordan Peele Bad Seed.
It's like a Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino 2 movie,
but
feature.
2 other people than that.
Well, this is the magic. This is the magic of theater.
Yeah,
you take that script. It's the same script for everybody, and you put your own little spin on it. Find fun things in it.
I think you said
I would honestly, honest to God, I would like to direct a stage version of this with all of
you
you.
said it as a joke, and I was like, can we do a 1-hour stage version of The Bad Seed? That theater needs shows.
Yeah.
Pendulum presents.
The Bad Seed. You guys.
Pendulum has bought the rights to The Bad Seed.
And like, everybody at some point in time gets to play Rhoda or Leroy. Or like the drunk.
It's like True West, where we're all trading off roles.
I mean, none of us want to play the boring characters, so we're only going to be the wild ones.
I just want to play like the military husband who just picks Dylan up and says like, ooh, I'm your daddy, give me a bucket of kisses, and then I just leave for the rest of the show and never come back.
Thumbs up.
Guys,
rating.
You heard it here first. 2020 is when we debuted the stage.
2020 shit. I'm putting this on an accelerated timeline.
March, baby.
Scariness rating 0. 0 out of 5 vitamins.
Men don't find this movie scary because they're like, well, kids can be a handful, and then we dust it. I'm off to the office. Yeah.
I just have one more quick thing. We didn't touch on it specifically, but the actress playing Rhoda is so fucking creepy and great.
She's really unsettling.
Yeah.
Wait, she won an Academy Award for this?
She was nominated. I don't know if she won.
Deserved.
I don't think she won because Tatum O'Neal was the youngest person to ever win when she won, and then Anna Paquin when she won. So, unless she was a lot older than she looked, which is also possible.
She's 45.
She's like 30. I'm playing her.
Tight.
Yeah.
All right.
Watch this movie.
Watch this movie, baby.
Watch this movie.
Come see our show on Thursday.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Pendulum presents. Please come. 10 p.m.
17th.
Thursday, Coaltown Theater.
Great. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.